Hi there, lovely stitchers. I hope you're all well. Start of a brand new project, and I'm going to be quite honest and upfront at the moment because I'm not entirely sure whether I'm going to do a long project or it's going to be just a few weeks. My idea is that we're going to do some darning, and I'm going to do some different darning techniques every week, or a different darning technique every week or every video. You never know, I might be able to get two in. I'm not sure over the next few weeks because we are going to a few shows. I'll talk about those in a minute. So yeah, my initial thought was I'm going to do a scroll, and I've got this bit of eco printing that I did, which isn't very fantastic. It's my first one of eco print. I've done eco dyeing, but not printing with leaves, so it's a bit of a newbie for me. I don't want to go into that one because we'll talk about that for a long time. And there'll be people out there who'll be saying, oh, you know, you want to do this, you want to do that, and I don't want to go down that route on this video. So yeah, and then I looked at it and I thought, do you know what, that's quite big. Maybe we need to shrink it down a bit. I don't know yet. I don't know. So that's why I'm sort of leaving it a bit open-ended at this moment in time. All I know is that we will do a new darn every video. And the first one, let's get you in shot. It's just a little basic basket weavy darn. I don't know whether you can see that. Yeah. Anyway, I'll show you close up when we're down on the, you know, the other camera. That's the word I'm looking for. And the sort of the thinking about the process of darning and all that's entailed in it, it's sort of really going to slow us down. So whereas we've done a project that's got something that's kind of like a picture or something like that, this is just going to be just because, a little bit of just because. I have got some little tiny samples of bits of old darn from the antique linen that I fetched from France, so I do look out for them, but they tend to be usually in the middle of the sheets, and I don't want to cut them. I don't want to chop them out just yet. Yeah, but I'll explain bits and bobs that you need as we go along. So don't think we need anything expensive, anything that you might not already have. I'm literally starting with a basic hoop. So I'm waffling, I know. What was I going to say? I was going to talk about the shows. The shows. We're doing we're exhibiting at some shows, some knitting and stitching shows and textile shows. So the first one is next weekend, and that is in Newmarket. At Newmarket Racecourse. That's called the Textiles East Fair. I've never been to this before. A couple of friends recommended me to go, so we're going to go and see what it's like. I'm really looking forward. And if you do go, please do come and say hello, because and if you've done one of my projects, bring it. I can't wait. I love to see them. I love to see them. And I will have some of my little bits and bobs that might be useful for you in this project. Who knows? The next show we're coming to Glasgow. Never ever in my life have I been to Glasgow. So I'm really looking forward to that. There'll be a few people out there that'll say, visit this, visit that, visit that. I haven't got time. I wish I had. My son's coming up he's bringing the van. We've come, well, I say we, I mean the royal we, he, with a little tiny bit of help from me. He's converting a van into a camper van. So he's bringing that with all the stuff in, and then he's going to go off and around. So I believe the Kelpies is not far away, and I forgot what is it, the Falkirk Wheel. He keeps mentioning that, so he's going to go and have a little look at that and maybe stay overnight, a couple of nights in that area. So if there's anything, he's got his little doggy. It's got to be dog friendly. He's not very peoply. So anything that you know, you might have an idea where we could go, where he might be able to go, take him on a little doggy walk. Let me know for any of these things, really. And then we're coming back down to Birmingham to the NEC. Woo! That's not too far from home, so we'll not be too far, and we can have a little stock up. So again, don't forget to come and say hello to us. And that is, I can't remember the dates of that. And then to round it all off, at the end of November, we're going back up to Harrogate to the Knit and Stitch show, and this time I'm in a different hall. I will be in the last hall or the first hall, whichever way you come in. If you come in one end, I think it's at the first hall, and if you come in the other end, it's the last hall. And I'm going in with a lot of the designers and things like that. So looking forward to that. Looking forward to being in a different place. So it'll be like a whole new experience. And if you are an exhibitor, don't forget to come and say hello to Reggie, because he comes along to the setup as well. Now I'm going to stop waffling and we're going to get on, aren't we? I'm just going to find where to switch the recording off. So don't forget as well to like and subscribe and to put things in the comments, but not only nice things in the comments, of course. And of course, let us know if you come in, and I'll try and remember who you are. And do come and say hello, and we can get some photographs and things for our little social media. Happy stitching. Okay, so we're going to be darning. I'll just go through some of the little bits and bobs of equipment that you'll need just to get us kicked off, and then I'll talk about how you might want to display it. So you'll want a bit of fabric. We're going to be doing visible mending or darning. So your fabric doesn't necessarily have to have any hole or damage or anything like this. These are little bits that I've cut off some linen, vintage or antique linen, this is, that have been darned. And they have had holes in, I can see. If you look on the back of that one particularly, you can see it. So, yeah. But we're sort of going to do a surface mend, because the likelihood that we've got something that we want to use that's got a hole in it to put on our display piece is not very high. Anyway, so this is just an old piece of cotton handkerchief that I've tea dyed and rust dyed and all the other bits and bobs. So, anything goes. To darn, you want to make sure your fabric's taut but not stretched out of shape. So a little embroidery hoop will be absolutely fine. I've also got things, like a darning egg. I'll show you how to use these at a later date. This one's it's not really old, but it's old, and it's got like a little tiny hook, like a latch, and they'd use that to do. You'd made a hole in your elbow of your of your sweater, and it's still clinging on for dear life, and it's got the ladders. This would be used to sort of hook up those ladders and then darn, just to give it a bit of strength. You'd use the other side to darn, that side to do the ladders. Okay. Darning mushroom, have got one. Can I find it? No, I can't. maybe a marker or a pen or a bit of tailor's chalk, just if you're, you want it straight. I like to keep it straight, so yeah, it's that kind of thing. Needle threaders, I'm hooked up here, and a kind of needle threader just to make life easier. Straight edge needles. I'm using a long darning needle for this, but you might have, if you're doing a sweater, you might want a bit of a, what we'd call a bodkin with a blunt end, large eye. These are also darners, sharp needle, but basically anything that you can get your thread through, that you can go through your fabric nice and easy. Good pair of scissors. Oh, beg my pardon. And some threads. I'm just going to pop that there so I don't lose it. I'm going to go, because I want it visible, I'm going to go for some threads that I can see. So these are sheepies, these are in my shop. That's a 10 weight, that's an 8 weight. Pearl cotton, that's a 12 weight. There's yarn. I've got sashiko threads. These little tiny balls of yarn are great because you can change it colour. Oh, I want to show you this as well. This is like a little automatic darning thing. I'll show you how to use that at a later date. So basic tools, really, nothing extravagant. Don't go out buying things. A little embroidery hoop you can pick up for next to nothing. But again, you don't actually have to have anything. You can stretch it across a jam jar lid here, like that. Get your elastic band. Oops, just so it's tight, nice and tight. Oh, I've snapped my elastic. That's rubbish, but you get the idea. Oh, sorry. So yeah, let me just make sure you're in shot, because I think I've just bashed. Yeah, that's better. Oh my gosh, I did my trick again. Videoed without the sound on. So annoying. So you can use anything. As long as it's got a flat surface, you can tighten your fabric up on it. You get the idea. Let's just pop that there. So to start with, I want to make a little darn. I'm going to go into the middle of this thread, into the middle of this fabric, sorry. And it does need to be taut, but try not to put your fabric, distort your fabric, especially if you're using something knitted, woolly, a sweater of sorts that can stretch. You don't want to be doing that. I'm just looking for my little, oops, I nearly stabbed myself with my, just tighten that up a bit and just give it a bit of a, it doesn't have to be drum tight like you would if you were embroidering, but it still needs to be tight. That'll be fine. Just give it another twist. Okay. Sorry if you can hear noisy background. My son's outside we're converting a van. I know I've told you so. He's doing some work on that. So yeah, that's your darn. That's your little base. I'm getting ahead of myself, because I was going to talk about how we're going to display it. You could do it in a stitch book, because I'm going to make several over the next few weeks. You can do it in a little stitch book. You can do it on a scroll. You can do it on a big piece of fabric. You could do it on a hexie. The sky's the limit. You do whatever suits you. I've even started. This is a really really old piece of linen, and it's very fragile, but I've even started doing, I'm not going to unroll it, on the insert of a doggy poop roll bag of, you know what I mean. If you've got pets, dogs, you'll know what I mean. And I've even started doing that on there. So, and it, like I say, absolutely anything goes. And it doesn't have to be vintage stuff. I feel like people feel that they've got to be putting it on a bit of vintage stuff. Bit of driftwood will do. These are from, they're like a paper. These are from a mill near me, and they were peanuts. They were like 25p. And that'll do. And I'm going to use one, put mine on. Oh, this is my first piece of eco printing that wasn't brilliant, but hey, hey. So this is what my base will be. And we'll talk about that in a minute. But yeah, you know, I've got these modern bobbins, spools, these things that you can pick up from all over the place. Clothes pegs, clothespins, the springy clippy type ones. This is a dinky tiny one. I've made some of these up, not stitched, but I'm bringing them to the shows. So I'm starting off at Textiles East show in Cambridgeshire, at the Newmarket Racecourse next week, and now I'm going to go right through Glasgow, Birmingham, Harrogate up until Christmas. So we'll have these available, and these with some antique linen on. I think these have got calico on, but they'll be available anyway. If you see me, don't forget to come and say hello. Say hello to Heather and oh, I've gone off on a tangent, haven't I? You've not even started. This is I don't know what this is. No idea. But a bit of wood. I could wrap something around that. But so what we're going to do is we're going to do a little darn, and I got the idea looking at this and thinking, right, we could patch it on, couldn't we? So at this moment in time, it might change because I might think, God, this is quite big. I'm using this bit of antique linen that I've printed, eco printed. But what happened was I put some walnut leaves in, and it sent everything yellow, this beautiful golden yellow. So doesn't matter, not bothered. So we'll see. That's where I'm going for the time being. So shall we get on? For your first darn, I am going to use. Shall we use this? Because I'm not going to do. Don't be tempted to do this huge darn. You'll be here all week. You want a good arm's length of thread. As I say, I'm using this candy floss. Ooh. Yeah, good arm's length, about a metre yard. A good old lazy tailor's arm's length, as my granny would say. And just, you can double it up. You don't want to double it up, but you can double it up to shorten the length while we're working. So that's my initial start. So I'm going to come here and do a little grid, a little square. And I'm going to just go an inch square. This is bothering me a bit because it's not quite straight. Sorry. That's it. That was. I'm going to come an inch there, along here, and I'm going to follow this line and an inch down. Inch. As I say, do not go too big. But if you've got a hole, you'd want to make sure that you're covering it by at least 1 centimetre. Sorry, I'm getting messages. Oh, I see. It's okay. So I'm going to go along that line there. and along that line there. I say this every time, don't I? Nobody's interested in me until I get videoing and then filming, and then everybody wants to know me. Okay, so we're going to come in at the side. I'm right-handed, so if you were left-handed, you might want to start this side, and I'm going to go away from my dot, my starting dot. I'm just going to come here, okay, and in, and then I'm going to come up at the start, and I'm going to pull all the way through and leave myself about 4 or 5 inches of thread, and then I'm going to go up, straight up, and take a little stitch. Okay, try not to pull it all the way through. You could put a knot in the end of here just to make sure that you don't, if you want to. Then I'm going to come back down and take another little stitch, but you want to try and keep it in a straight up and downs. If you were using finer thread, you'd want to go closer together, but be mindful that the finer the thread, the longer it's going to take you. Just pop you out of the way. Make sure I don't go over there. So I'm going to go all the way up and down till I get to the other side, and I'll be back when I'm at the other side. So at the end, I've gone a bit wonky, but hey ho, don't mind a bit of wonky. So I'm coming down and up again. I keep catching that. If that's getting in your way, you could actually send it back through the other side. Go up and down and up, and then I'm going to go back and right through. Okay, so I've now got my little lines of stitch, and on the other side you've just got little tiny stitches. So I'm going to snip this off here, and what we'll do is I'm going to change colour of my thread so we can see the weave. But first of all, I feel like I want to come back. No, I'll leave it. So you can see my weave, my colours, the weave I'm doing. I'm going to change colour, and I didn't think about that. So here we are. I've got a bit darker thread. So what you're going to do next, get yourself a decent amount of thread on your needle. You might not need as long a needle this time, because you're not going to be actually. Oh, let me use that and thread my needle. Brill. Fantastic. Move you out of the way. Give myself a bit of room. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to come up through here, right next to, she says, this side, this first long stitch, and I'm coming up right at the bottom corner. Okay, again, I'm going to leave myself some thread, about 4 or 5 inches. I am not putting a knot in. As I said before, you can, but you'll want these so we can weave them in at later. Oh gosh. Okay, So what I'm going to do first is I'm using the back end of my needle, the eye end, and I'm going over this top thread and under, over, under, and I'm doing that all the way along, up and down, over, under, okay, till I get to the other end. All right, and I'm just going to pull it through, not too tight, and you've got a bit of a, so again, using the back end of my needle, I'm just going to push it all down. There. Just bear with me a minute. I think I might be needed. Oh, sorry about that. Okay. Oh, my fingers are a little bit cold because I've just been outside helping Harvey. So I've pushed all that down with the back of my needle, the eye end of my needle. Okay. You don't have to be rough with it, just nice and gentle. And then what you're going to do is you're going to take another little stitch, and we're using this stitch and this stitch as our lines, our guidelines. So I want to come and just let me get in and make sure that you can see what I'm doing. Try not to pull too tightly at this stage because you're going to distort this if you do. So I want to go, I'm just going to move that back a bit so you can see what I'm doing. I'm going to go down and take a tiny stitch up. Okay. Do you see? And then I'm just going to pull through. As I say, don't pull too tightly because you don't want to distort this, because obviously these are movable, but you don't want to distort that. Right? So we're now going to go back along here, but where we went under at this end, we want to go over. So you're doing a weave. So you're going over this first stitch, under the second. Again, I'm using the eye end of the needle. Under, over, 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 under. And I'm going all the way. Okay, I'm pulling. Let's just get you out of the. Do you know what? I am going to pull that through. Let me just pull that through. No, I don't want to because I want to try and keep it. Sorry, I'm so indecisive. It'll be fine. It's just being inconvenient. So again, I'm just going to make sure I'm pushing my threads down. I don't want to be pulling this tight. I'm just pushing them down. Just pull it a little bit, but do not pull too tight or you'll pull it out of shape. Okay, so you've got a little weave going on, woven. You can do a really, really tiny stitch and make them so they're so close together you can't see, but for this purpose it doesn't really matter. So I'm going to go back across, but I want to take another little stitch. So I want to go, my needle needs to go down in line with the end of this stitch, then come up and that tiny stitch. So I've gone down in line with this row of weave, and I'm just going to pull up, and that kind of secures it. Okay. Oh, yeah, that's fine. It's all right. And then I'm going to go back. So I went under that one. I'm going to go over this time. Over, under, over, under, over, under. Over. All the way through. And again, I'm going to just push everything down with my needle, not pulling too tightly. And you see, it's starting. Here we go. It's starting to look. I'm concentrating now. I'm just wondering if I've gone off the gone off camera. Let's have a look. It's focusing it. You can see that it's starting to weave. Okay. Again, I'm going to go down in line with this stitch, this row of stitch, weave, and then I'm going to come back up. And you don't want to make too, you can make a big stitch. It's up to you. You know, this is only, but if you transferred it to something you were mending, you'd probably want to be finer like this is. Okay. And back up. So again, I'm going to do alternating. So I went under, okay, when my last stitch went under this bar, and I'm going over that now. Over, under. And I'm literally, oops, over. Up and down. Up and down. Go. And I'm just carrying on. I'm just going to carry on. Can you see how I've pulled that quite tight and it's distorted the edge of that there? I don't want that to happen, so I'm going to just pull it back, out, back down, all the way. I'm loving it already. Like a little basket weave we're doing. Yeah. So I'll carry on and do to the end, and I'll come back and I'll show you when I get near the end, and we'll show you what we're going to do to finish it off. Okay, so we've finished the patch of weaving. And that looks really lovely. I have to say, I'm really pleased with that. So what you want to do now is, I've still got my needle threaded. I'm going to go down through to the back. Okay, just pull you through. And then I'm going to pull this thread that's been bothering me the whole time. I'm going to pull you back through as well. Okay, so I've got a nice patch. I'm then going to weave, and I'm not going to come up this one, I'm going to come along here. I'm going to just weave if I can, just go that way. This needle is a bit long for this hoop on this side because it's going to interfere. Weave my stitches, my thread in to interlock so it locks it in. I'll go quite a way because what I don't want, you can also, you can also weave into this as well, but because it's quite open, I've done this quite open, I don't want to be able to see my stitches through it. But if I'd put a patch on it, you can use this as well, but I don't want, as I say, I don't want to be able to see my, because this is a visible man. I don't really suppose it matters, but in my head it does. So I'm going up and through, and I'm just going to snip that really closely Careful not to cut my fabric, and I'm going to do the same with all the others. I'm just going to get a shorter needle though, just so I can get in a bit better. Excuse my arm coming in. There we are. I suppose I could take this off the hoop now, but I'm not going to at this moment. That's better, isn't it? I'm just weaving underneath these little stitches. That off. And I'm going to do the others. I'll be back. So that is that finished. And if you look on the back, it's really quite neat. There's no, and it feels really smooth. So I'm going to undo this from the hoop. And as I said before, it's really entirely up to you how you display these. But for now, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to keep them all in a little pile. I think that's quite cute, isn't it? I really do like that. I'm really pleased with that. But it's not distorted or anything coming out of there. So I'm going to keep them in a little pile. I'll put them in one of my little project boxes with all the other bits and bobs that I'm going to be gathering for it. And then I'll decide, because as I say, I have got this, but it is quite big, and that would be quite a bit of a project, wouldn't it, for us? So I'm, not quite sure at this point where I'm going with it. So I will just keep it to one side for a little while. It might be that I might want to put him on something like this. We'll see. We'll see. I'm just sort of leaving my options open for the time being. I know I'm being a little bit like, well, what are you doing now? But I it's my no plan, isn't it? So I might even incorporate these ones, which I feel like I need to, because I've chopped them out of big sheets, and as I go along I might find some more. So I've gone off again, haven't I? So I hope you've enjoyed it. Please, feel free to share your pictures with us. We have got a Facebook group, but it's not a very busy Facebook group. I have to say, it seems to be me that puts things in there, and then I do forget. It's yeah, I'm not quite sure on that one, but the details are all in the description box below. But if you want sheep ears, candy floss, or anything like that, head to the website. You'll find everything under haberdashery. I know I sound a bit salesy, and I do say to people, it is my business. I do have a business, so I do have a website with these bits and bobs on. So that's why I might sound a bit salesy. I'm sorry if I do, but as always, don't forget to like and subscribe, because it really does help to grow the channel and put it out there, because I noticed one or two things that they just don't seem to get watched, and I think that's because I don't get many comments on it, or I don't get many thumbs up or things like that. Who knows what the algorithm, who knows what that even is. I'm just still looking at this. I love this. Oh gosh, that's a different technique to this, which we will show. But I just wanted to get you in on that. Oh my gosh, I need to stop just chatting and chatting, don't I? I don't want to though, because I like you to sort of get involved in my life. Anyway, bye bye, happy stitching, and I'll see you all again soon.